I guess by default, the vice chair is calling this meeting to order. First, I'd like to take a roll call of who's here. If Mr. Crutcher has gotten online, will you please say you can hear everybody and you're here? If not, if there's silence, I'll go to Mr. Adams.
This is Glenn Adams, and I'm able to hear everyone.
Mr. Choate.
This is Kenneth Choate, and I can hear everyone loud and clear.
Mr. Hughes.
This is Josh Hughes, and I'm able to hear everyone.
Okay. Bobby, would you like to give while we're meeting electronically and those procedures?
Absolutely. Thank you. If there's no objection from the Board of Adjustment and Appeal members and subject to Executive Order number 78, let the minutes reflect that the members have determined that it is necessary that this meeting be held electronically to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Are there any objections? Let the minutes reflect the board has made the determination to conduct this meeting electronically. I do want to remind everyone that each vote must be by roll call vote. Chairman will call the names, at which time you will provide your vote. Prior to making a motion or a second or asking a question or making comment, please identify yourself. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Okay. The first item of business is consider the minutes of the last meeting. They have been sent electronically to all the board members. Are there any comments or a motion?
Mr. Chairman or Mr. Vice Chairman, this is Glenn Adams, and I make a motion we approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
This is Kenneth Choate, and I'll second the motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. We have a proper motion and second. I'll do the vote. Mr. Hughes.
This is Josh Hughes, and I vote in favor of the motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Choate.
This is Kenneth Choate, and I vote for the motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Adams.
This is Glenn Adams, and I vote for the motion to approve the minutes.
This is John Lee. And I vote for the motion to approve the minutes also.
This is Ron.
Chairman.
I'm on board, and I vote to approve the minutes.
Okay. The motion's been made and approved. Do I want to relinquish the chairmanship to the real chairman who just showed up?
Yes, I believe that would be appropriate.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Crutcher, we can
Yes.
hear you, and so I'll let you proceed.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. The minutes are approved. The next order of business is to deal with the items on the agenda. And I will turn the meeting over to Council, Mr. Cook, to lead us through that and give us the staff recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appeals before you today are from Aspen Construction and Crescent Homes. Is there any objection from the appellants to hear the appeals as a whole? Hearing no objection, we will combine and address the appeals from Aspen Constructions and Crescent Homes together. Let the minutes reflect that no additional documentation or explanation was submitted by either Aspen Construction or Crescent Homes. First argument the appellants make is that they have obtained vested rights under the Vested Property Rights Act of 2014, so the lots at issue are not subject to the impact fee. The Vested Property Rights Act provides that should a developer receive preliminary plat approval from the local authority of development standards, at that time shall remain the same through the course of the development. The appellant argues that the impact fee is a development standard and therefore the impact is not applicable to those developments that receive prior preliminary plat approval. However, the Vested Property Rights Act is triggered if the impact fee is a development standard, which the Act specifically references standards and regulations concerning the actual development of the property to include local stormwater requirements, local construction standards for buildings, streets, alleys, curbs, sidewalks, lot sizes. These are all standards that concern the actual development of the property, and in fact, you can develop the property without ever having to pay the impact fee. Should the board find that the impact fee is a development regulation trigger investor property rights, we maintain that the appellants have provided no evidence that it received any approvals from the planning department or planning commission for the properties at issue prior to the adoption and implementation of the education impact fee. The appellant's second argument is that the impact fee is required to be calculated on each subdivision, and the proceeds received from that particular subdivision is required to be used on educational capital projects for that specific development. Private Act provides that it is the intent of the Act to grant the Williamson County Legislative Body the authority to establish a procedure or system to collect fees from a developer on any new residential development so as to require that developer to share in the burdens of growth by paying his pro rata share for the cost of public improvements generated by the new land development activity. Private Act does not require the county to define specific zones to accommodate each subdivision. In fact, the Private Act grants the county's legislative body broad power to implement the impact fee system. To support its decision to have a county-wide fee, and based on detailed studies supporting the impact and need of expanded or new educational facilities, the legislative body determined that a county-wide impact fee is needed because of the ever-changing school districts, as well as the fact that development in one area of the county has an effect on schools in another. At this time, I will ask if there's any appellants that are represented on this call. Hearing none, Mr. Chairman, we ask for these appeals be denied for the reasons given.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. You have heard the staff's position. Are there any questions or comments on the appeals? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion on the staff position.
Mr. Chairman, this is Josh Hughes. I'd like to make a motion that we deny the appeal.
Motion is properly made. Do I have a second?
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Chairman, it's Glenn Adams.
go ahead, Glenn.
This is Glenn Adams, and I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any questions or comments before we vote? Hearing none, we will vote. I will begin with Crutcher, and I am for the motion to deny. Mr. Hughes,
This is Josh Hughes. I vote for the motion to deny.
Mr. Adams,
This is Glenn Adams, and I vote for the motion to deny the appeal.
Mr. Shaw,
This is Kenneth Choate, and I vote for the motion to deny the appeal.
Mr. Lee,
This is John Lee, and I vote for the motion to deny the appeal.
the vote was unanimous to deny the appeal. And moving on to the next item on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, we have no further appeals for you today.
Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, this is Joe Horn. We are, Bobby and I began a discussion yesterday. As I'm sure y'all recollect, the county commission amended resolution that we operate under back in February, which extends the, I guess the time that we have to hear the appeal. Prior, we had to hear the appeal no sooner than 30 days, but no later than 45 days. The county commission amended the resolution to read no sooner than 30 days, but no longer than 90 days. So effectively, that gives us the ability to kind of break away from these every other week meetings. And I think that probably that'll be a cut and pay for you guys, obviously. But I think that will also give y'all an opportunity, give us an opportunity to, start, using that resolution to our advantage. Right now, and Bobby and I haven't had a detailed conversation about it. We suggested perhaps dialing back to a monthly meeting, and we're even going back to a meeting every 45 days. Right now, I have tentatively, with y'all's permission, of course, suggested that we meet, our next meeting occur on April 15th. We will still be meeting electronically at that time. And, and then see what's going on with the appeals. I think right now we have 9 already that would qualify for that meeting, and we wouldn't have to close the agenda until, probably, I think something like March 16th. At this time, that would be my preference, but obviously, this is your board, and I would, I would prefer to handle this whatever fashion y'all would like to handle this.
Thank you, Mr. Horn. Mr. Cook, a motion probably would be what we need to do. Is that correct?
You can do it by motion. It's not technically needed, but you can. The scheduling of it is actually staff's decision. We're
Okay.
getting some input from you.
Are there any comments, objections, or whatever from any member of the board?
I would make a motion, this is Glenn Adams, and I will make a motion that we let planning and legal make the decisions when we meet.
Motion been made, and do I hear a second?
This is Kenneth
John
Choate.
Lee.
I'll make a second on that motion.
All right, motion been properly made and seconded. Roll call vote, starting with Mr. Hughes.
This is Josh Hughes. I vote for the motion.
Mr. Lee,
This is John Lee. I vote for the motion.
Mr. Adams,
This is Glenn Adams, and I vote for the motion.
Mr. Show,
This is Kenneth Choate, and I vote for the motion.
and this is Ronald Crutcher, and I vote for the motion. Motion's been made, seconded, and unanimously approved. Is there any other business to come before the board this morning? Mr. Cook or Mr. Horn?
I have nothing further for you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, my wife stepped in a couple of minutes ago, and she handed me something that I want to ask you if you're familiar with it. You mind this moment of personal exception?
Let's see what you got.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I am familiar with it after 6 months.
Familiar with that. It's at all your finer bookstores, and it.
Yeah.
I guess it's about Mr.
I
Crutcher.
will let you know that mustache that is on there did not come home from Vietnam.
Understood. Any rate, having addressed Mr. Crutcher, I guess that's all I have for the day.
Okay, then the meeting is adjourned.